Hi all of you, hope you guys are great and welcome back to yet another video. So in this video we'll try to find out the unit of ether, what it is and how you can even calculate the unit of the ether for performing any transaction on Ethereum blockchain network. As you all know that if you want to perform any action on Ethereum blockchain network, you have to pay transaction fee. You have to pay gas fee for that. No matter what kind of action you are performing, whether you are deploying your smart contract for a specific purpose, sending money from one wallet to another, buying NFT, selling NFT, you have to pay transaction fee for performing every single task which you are doing on Ethereum blockchain network. As you all know that Ether is a native currency of Ethereum blockchain network. And whatever transaction you do and perform on Ethereum blockchain network, that's happened on a Wei term, okay? So EVM understand the Wei and that's converted into a 1 ether. So we're going to talk about a lot that what is 1 Wei, and if you want to get 1 ether, how many zero we have to add on to that. So to give you a broad understanding that what is Wei and what is 1 ether, let me put this in this way, okay? So just imagine that you have a $1, and if you want to have a $1, you have to combine 100 cents. And if you have 100 cents, then you will have a $1. In the same way, if you have a 1 rupee, then you have to add on 100 paisa, then you will get a 1 rupee. In the same way, you have to add 1 and you have to add 18 zero along with the 1, then you will get 1 ether. So here I have a beautiful diagram which explain about the entire conversion process of Wei to ether. So here is a Wei, and 1 Wei is equal to 1, and the second one is called QA. It's very hard to pronounce. So in that you will have 3 0, and the third one is Mwei. Here we have a 6 0, and the third one is Gwei. Fourth one is Gwei. It has a 9 0, and micro ether it has a 12 0, and milli ether it has a 15 0, and finally the ether it contained 18 0. So if you want to have a 1 ether, you have to have a 1 plus 18 0, and that you will get 1 ether, okay? And the entire EVM, Ethereum virtual machine, understand this Wei term, okay? This Wei term, the entire transactions happen in terms of Wei. So most of the time you have seen that when you deploy a smart contract, it shows that you have used this much gas in Wei term. That's gas used in Wei term, gas required for doing the transaction in Wei term. So that's all transaction happen in terms of Wei. So this is a perfect diagram. I will share the link of this article in the description so you guys can read. They have explained everything about the unit conversion, and they have given a very good example so you guys can explore. Now let's come to our remix ID, and let me write the code and let me give you some more example for your notes. So here I have done, I have created a simple file for this tutorial. Here I have given this simple comment. So ether and Wei transactions are paid with ether, okay? So whenever you do any transaction, it's happened in Wei, but we represent as a ether. And here is the simple explanation that similar to how $1 is equal to 100 cents and 1 ether is equal to 1, and then you have to add a 18 zero, that's called Wei. Now let's write that in a code. So here we have written the very simple smart contract, and here we have followed the general convention, license identifier, and we have our Solidity version. And here we have taken the few state variable which is a UNT type, so 1 Wei and the value, and here we have taken a boolean variable so we can check that whether is 1 is equal to 1 Wei, and that's what we are creating here. And here we have taken one more state variable which is equal to 1 ether, and here we are comparing with 1 E and 18. So when you want to represent 1 ether, you can write in this way or you can write 18 0, both will work. So let's compile this and come to this deployment sections. Let's deploy this contract. Here we have our contract got deployed, and here we got 4 functions. So let's call the first one is 1 ether is known. Let's call this one. So initially it has 1, as you can see the statement is true. Now let's call the other one 1 ether, and here we have this. As you can see, you can even count that 18 0 here. You can count all the 0, and let's check the boolean value. So here let's give the first value, let's true. As you can see here, we are doing the check with this boolean variable. 1 is equal to 1 Wei, yes it is. Let's call the other one, and it's also true. So this value and this value is true. That means this is how the unit work in ether Okay, and that's all about the unit of ether. And now let's talk about that, how much money you need to pay for performing transaction on Ethereum blockchain network. And that's the tricky part, because Ethereum can handle only 5 transactions per second. So you can imagine that there is a lot of transactions happening, and all these transactions are into the cube, okay, waiting for their time to get executed on Ethereum blockchain networks. So if you want to surpass that cube and execute your function, if you execute your transaction fast, then you have to pay higher gas fee. So it's just like an auction. If you pay higher amount for the transaction, for the gas, you can easily able to execute your code faster on Ethereum blockchain network and pay and do the transaction. Okay, so it's just like an auction, because you can only make 5 transactions per second. So if you want to surpass that, you can pay higher gas fee. And how you can pay higher gas fee for doing the transaction, there is an options. When you will do the transaction, even you can define in your smart contract, or you can define at the time of doing the transactions to make your transaction faster. So that's all I wanted to cover about the Wei in ether and the transaction cost, which totally depend on that how many transaction is happening at the particular time when you want to do the transactions. And if you want to pay higher gas fee, then your transaction will execute first, because it's just like an auction system. And that's pretty much you need to know about the unit and the transaction of Ethereum blockchain network. So with that said, now let's move to the next video.